Hello everyone, I'm Dalton Burdett.
I'm Ryan Warner.
And we are the Movie Nights. Well, some of them. If you're watching this, it's because you want to hear our uncensored and unfiltered thoughts and opinions about the world of movies. So kick back, grab a snack, and thank you for being a part of the conversation. Ryan, how's your week been, my guy?
Oh, it's been good. Finally saw Tenet.
So did I.
My God. I want to briefly talk about it because I know you put out a video.
Yes, no spoilers.
But just to get my thoughts, of course, very vague, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But very vague, my thoughts on it. But the biggest news that we have to talk about today, and probably the most shocking, is very unfortunate news, is Chadwick Boseman did pass away this past week. Mm-hmm. And it's very unfortunate, came out of nowhere. But I'd feel awful if we didn't talk about this first.
Of course we're going to talk about Chadwick Boseman first.
What an icon he has been for African Americans, well, across the world, really. Just being able to play these iconic roles like Jackie Robinson and then bringing Black Panther to life. Mm-hmm. He wasn't the first black star to be in a comic book role because with Blade, what's his name? Wesley Snipes was in Blade. But
he was the first in this like renaissance of comic book films.
Correct. Yeah. And it made $1 billion, not two, but it made $200 million in its opening weekend, though, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But do you have any thoughts about his career? Because I know you're a big baseball fan, so naturally Jackie Robinson does fall under that umbrella. Yeah.
Well, the first movie I saw him in was 42, where he played Jackie Robinson. I saw it with my good friend Jacob. We both went together. It was back when I lived in Citrus County, Florida. We saw it. I believe I saw it twice in theaters, just because, one, I've loved the Jackie Robinson story, but I always thought that he did such a great performance in that film. Mm-hmm. And I remember after, and I put this when I did like my social media, I remember Jacob and I were talking after 42, and we both said, like, holy crap, that Chadwick Boseman guy was really, really good in that movie. Like, I can't wait to see what else that guy does. He was so good. And he had been acting in television a lot, like, for about a decade before that, but that was, like, his big break in a way. Mm-hmm. And, after he did that movie, it was crazy, like, how talented he clearly was. He went on to also play James Brown in a movie called Get On Up, which I still haven't seen, but I heard nothing but great things about his performance in that movie. But he did a lot of work I really liked. He was in a film called Marshall, where he played Thurgood Marshall. I thoroughly loved that film. And he was excellent in it. Sterling K. Brown was in it as well. Josh Gad, really, really excellent movie. And look at Thurgood Marshall's life. And of course, he played Black Panther, which I think is what he's most notably known for. I remember watching Captain America Civil War and walking out going like, holy crap, I cannot wait for that Black Panther movie now, because he was so awesome in Civil War. And then the Black Panther movie came out, and it was a worldwide phenomenon. I worked in the box office when it came out, and I remember selling tickets for months, into Infinity War. Black Panther was still selling out.
Yeah.
And it was absolute insanity how many people had come to see that movie. And I remember seeing it opening weekend as well. It was a really good movie, and it's just so sad because no one knew about his secret battle with cancer. And, and I respect that he was able to keep something private about himself, but it's really admirable that he was diagnosed with cancer, was going through chemotherapy, and was doing surgeries, but also working out to stay in shape for Black Panther, and just doing tons of films. Like, he just was in Da 5 Bloods this year, which I watched and really enjoyed, and it's insane. Like, I'm still kind of can't believe it that he's passed away, but I think he was 43. He was so young. And it's crazy, because I would have never known that he had the cancer. Now, some images had come out of him earlier in this year where people were like, well, he looks kind of thin, but we all kind of played it off as, oh, he's probably doing something for a role, but just, now in hindsight, it's insane. It's crazy. I just really can't believe it.
Yeah, it's truly unfortunate because he had such like a shining career ahead of him, and it's, like you said, very admirable that he was able to keep something so secretive to himself because he didn't want the world to know or get worried. And the fact that he did so much for cancer research, and he gave so much back to like kids who had cancer, and the fact that he was able to bring, like, unfortunately I haven't seen any of his other movies, but I've heard nothing but fantastic things about his performances in those movies. But the fact that he was able to bring such like iconic people to life speaks in volume about who he is as a man and his life, that he wanted to like bring these iconic people to life and have people come out in spades and just watch these movies, because Black Panther did something that should have been done a while ago, but did something for the world. Like, people came out like in traditional African garb to like watch this movie, which is just fantastic that he was able to bring so many different people together to watch this movie. And it was such a huge deal, like you said, being at the movie theater for months after it came out and still selling out. You know, it's just something that was unprecedented before. And you know, it's very unfortunate that he did pass at such a young age, but you know, we'll just we'll have to be able to celebrate everything that he did for, you know, Black people across the world. You know, we're gonna have to be able to celebrate that moving forward, because he did a lot. So it's unfortunate, but you know, we will have to keep moving in his honor. You know,
and it's a really sad thing to do. I know some people are naturally thinking like, you know, what's the MCU gonna do? And I don't want to get into that right now. I want to wait a little bit before we kind of talk about
just
the
out
next
of respect.
step. Yeah, but I mean, it's a natural question to ask. But yeah, no, it's just the good thing is, though, his life was well lived. He knew he was running out of time, and he did as much as he could in that time period and didn't stop. So, you know, I really, my heart goes out to his family and the ones that were close to him, because I can't imagine how tragic this must be for them.
Absolutely.
So on that unfortunately somber note, we are going to go ahead and move on to some of the other movie news sections that we had planned for the day. A bit of personal news. Our short film Contrition just got into the Orlando Film Festival.
Yay!
Which is super awesome. Thank you so much, Orlando Film Festival. Can't wait to participate in that, virtually and safe, of course. But in the first, you know, actual news that people care about story, the Kingsman got delayed again. Movie that we've very much so been looking forward to.
Should have seen it already.
Yep, in February, and then again this September. But now it has again been pushed to February of 2021, according to The Hollywood Reporter. No specific reason given other than, you know, we're in the middle of COVID. I'm sure they're pushing a bunch around the release dates, and they probably feel that just February of next year is when it will be its most successful. Which I just feel so bad for the marketing campaign for this movie, because I feel like it might suffer a fate of too much pre-marketing, so that when it comes out, people are like, oh, that movie didn't come out like a year ago. And then hopefully it still makes money, because I love these Kingsman movies and I want to see another one other than this prequel.
Yeah.
And so I hope it does well at the box office. But just what are your thoughts on Kingsman getting bumped again?
I mean, if New Mutants can make money, this movie can make money.
We don't know how much money New Mutants will make.
We don't know, but we also don't know how much money Kingsman is going to make. But I know that has a huge following. Everyone loves those movies. I know a lot of people are very much so looking forward to it, us included.
Yeah.
So it just sucks with COVID happening and all these movies getting pushed back. And I was actually looking at the movies that are slated to come out for the rest of this year that haven't been pushed back just yet. And there's like maybe 5 or 6 movies that are like the big movies of the year, which is really a shame, because we're in September now and this is like prime Oscar time right now, where we should be getting all these fantastic movies, and unfortunately we aren't.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird Oscar season here.
Yeah, but we'll see if we have something planned for that.
We shall see. Very mystic. I liked that.
Right?
Speaking of like making money and things, the weekend box office report.
Oh, yes. Please take it away with that.
Let's see. In the weekend of August 28th through the 30th, coming in at number 1 was The New Mutants, Ryan.
Surprise, surprise.
Hey, even if it doesn't make any more money after this, they can forever say that their release date was pushed 5 times and they opened number 1. They can say that.
2 weeks in a row.
They can say that. New Mutants made $7 million, which was an uptick from $4 million of Unhinged last week, so the box office is increasing. And I think with Tenet, it's going to keep increasing, which is just such good news. Unhinged came in at $2 million, only dropping 34% from its previous weekend. Let's see. Bill and Ted Face the Music opened at $1 million, but that was also what it made in theaters. It also opened on PVOD at the same time.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 4 was The Personal History of David Copperfield, opening at $475,000.
Which we've heard is fantastic, but we have not seen.
Yep, and staying in the top 5, Words on Bathroom Walls, bringing in another $444,000, a 1.9% increase from last week. Good for them.
Good for that cute little movie.
Staying in the top 5.
Yeah, right.
Good for them. But yes, hold on. I wanted to see if I could pull up New Mutants' actual budget, because I've heard different things.
It's probably dummy big.
It's not, though.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So, the New Mutants had a budget of $67 million, which isn't horrible for an X-Men movie.
No, it's not.
It's pretty low, actually.
But they're definitely not making their money back.
Probably not. Let's see. Hold on. Let's do quick movie math. Quick movie math, Ryan.
Yes.
We're gonna go, not including like release date pushes.
Because that marketing budget's probably the same fucking number as that.
Maybe. We're gonna do 67 times. Let's go 3, just to
Yeah.
With marketing. That's about 201. So this would have to make about $200 million to be break even.
Scratching at it.
And so far worldwide it has made 10. So we'll see. Maybe if it stays in theaters for a long time, then more theaters open up in LA and New York, we'll see those numbers jump up. Maybe. I don't know. But it's number 1 in America last weekend, and they can hold on to that forever.
You helped that movie make its money.
You think? Oh yeah, because I did go.
Yeah.
I did go. Yes,
and
I'll go again. I'll see it twice. Fuck it. I don't care.
Oh my God.
It's not nearly as bad as people are saying it is. Is it great? No, but it's not. It's not bad.
We'll see. I'm seeing it tomorrow, so by the time this podcast comes up, I would have seen it.
Yes,
but we'll see.
That'll be interesting. By the way, I'm sorry for any janky edits you guys are noticing. I'm getting so many like important phone calls I have to take. It's been a hell of a day. Yeah, allegedly. Allegedly. So moving on to our next story. Mulan, which famously made the change from opening in theaters to on Disney Plus in September for a $30 uptick plus Disney Plus subscription, will be available for free to Disney Plus subscribers in December, on December 4th, about 90 days after September. That's crazy.
Wow.
How that normally would work if it had a theatrical run. Crazy. No, but I'm baffled that they announced this. Like
this early.
It's on the Disney page. Like, pay this, but in December you'll get it for free. It's like, okay, I'm going to wait till December then. Like, why would you just announce that? Now, if 90 days went by and then they just dropped it, I think that would have been a smarter move. But I'm very fascinated by the marketing of this because I think it's going to hurt their numbers. I'm very, very curious about that.
At least for the casual moviegoer, it will.
Yeah.
Like, for us, I could definitely see us, like, renting it and then having, like, a watch party for it.
Yeah.
But we're also...
We will.
Yeah, we're also not the average moviegoer.
Yeah, and so that just really fascinated me because I feel like they're kind of hurting themselves a little bit. But I really hope that this doesn't do better than Tenet because that would be big bad news for movie theaters. But
yeah, but it'd be bad. But it would only work because it's a Disney movie.
Yeah.
But everyone else would be like, oh, it worked for Disney. It could work for us. No, it fucking can't.
Yeah.
No.
And then it won't be. Yeah. So I'm curious to see what these numbers are going to be because I think it'll do okay.
Do you think it'll do okay now? Or do you think...
I think it'll do okay.
Okay.
I just don't think it'll do what they could have done in the theaters. I still think it was a really dumb move to take it out of the theaters. But, it was an interesting choice. But I'm fascinated by just letting people know it's coming out in December.
Which I think is a horrible move.
Yeah, really dumb. Really dumb. But in December, it'll be free if you're a Disney Plus subscriber. So, hey, there you go.
Now you don't have to fucking worry about paying the $30 that everyone was so upset about. But it's like, you get 6 people together, pitch in $30.
But it's like, of course they're going to charge it extra. They're not just going to throw that money away and put it on Disney Plus for no reason.
That movie costs so much to make.
Yeah, no, there's no way. They already did a move like that once with Hamilton this year because that was supposed to have a theatrical release.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, and they were just like, you know what? It's the pandemic. Let's Disney Plus now. Nice of them. Drew a lot of attention. Subscribers went up. They did their job.
The mouse is not that nice.
You can't do that with Mulan like back to back. Like it's not going to work like that because some people are sick of these Disney remakes anyway. Although I think this one looks excellent. It'll be curious to see, and I'll have a review up because I'm who I am. I'm gonna fucking buy it. But yeah. Oh well, whatever.
We'll see.
I just thought that was fascinating.
No. Bad move. Bad move, mouse. Bad move.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I am fucking screwing myself right now.
Oh my god. But our last piece of movie news comes to us from Deadline. The writers of A Quiet Place are going to write and direct a feature thriller film, which is being kept very under wraps. Apparently it's just going to be called 65. But helping produce the film is Sam Raimi.
Yahoo!
And it's got its first star in Adam Driver. So we're getting a movie that's written and directed by the Quiet Place writers, produced by Sam Raimi, and starring Adam Driver. I don't think I've ever been to a fucking theoretical movie faster in my whole life. Everything else about it's under wraps. We don't know anything about the plot. We just know it's like some sort of thriller. But I'm there. Like, I'm going.
Do you think it's going to be like Crawl level? But like,
no, I think
script-wise, A Quiet Place is way better than Crawl.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it'll be like a more serious...
But with Sam Raimi's name attached to it, it's like...
Yeah,
didn't he also
know.
produce The Grudge?
Yeah,
he's
it was? He's produced a lot of horror films. But, I mean, we'll see. Crawl is great. Don't let anyone talk shit about Crawl. That movie was great.
Tarantino loved it, and that's all that matters.
No, but I'm very curious about this movie now with all these names attached to it. But yeah, we know nothing about it other than Adam Driver, Quiet Place writers who will be directing it as well, and Sam Raimi.
See,
and like that's all you got to tell me, and I'm there.
I mean, I think it's going to be solid either way, so don't take what I'm going to say in the wrong way, but if you would have just had like Adam Driver starring in a movie that was penned and directed by the Quiet Place writers, I'd be like, oh shit, that's going to be fantastic. And then you throw Sam Raimi's name into it, and it's like how good of a movie are we talking here? Are we talking like fun, dumb movie like Crawl? Or are we talking like genuinely good like Quiet Place? Mm-hmm. So like I don't know where that's gonna like fall under for me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, because Sam Raimi is notorious for like having B movies and like just fun movies.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
It'll be interesting. I think it'll be an interesting movie to see.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, now that the movie news section is out of the way, we're going to go ahead and move on to classic movie reviews. What's a classic movie to us? I'm so glad you asked. A classic movie is a movie that's at least 25 years old, is in high critical standing, and has a good following of fans. Ryan, what movie are we watching, or did we watch this week?
Superman. You can't see it, but I'm pointing all the way. There's what do we have? We have Jaws, we have Star Wars, and then we have Superman.
1978's Superman the movie. That's the official title, Superman the movie.
The movie. Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, because they couldn't let people thinking they were going to the theater to just watch a comic book silly.
Oh.
So they made it Superman the movie.
That's fair. It just says Superman on the poster.
Yeah, on that poster it does. But I think on the official billing, it's like Superman the movie.
Interesting.
Which is very fascinating. But, yes, I'm actually going to let you go first, because this movie is very near and dear to my heart, and I don't want to steal the floor right away. So, Ryan, you go first talking about Superman the movie.
Yeah. I love the Star Wars theme it has for it, which is
God.
fucking fantastic.
It is not the Star Wars theme. He always fucking does this to me with John Williams. It's one of the best musical scores ever. Not today. Not now. We're not going to do this now on camera. Respect the score. Respect it.
No, it is genuinely one of the greatest scores of all time, but it does sound like Star Wars. But it's the same composer, so naturally it's going to sound similar. I just always give him a hard time for it.
The same composer. John Williams, the fucking greatest music composer that ever lived. Jesus Christ.
Like he's some Joe Schmo.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. They're the same.
Who the fucking thunk it?
God.
But no, this movie's surprisingly very, like, cute. Especially when you're looking at it from today's lens with all these comic book movies we have nowadays that are just groundbreaking now. But, like, back then it's like, it's a cute, fun movie. Like, it's very, like, looking at Christopher Reeve over there, like, just...
I don't know if you can see him. Maybe you can.
I don't know if you can see him on your camera, but he just... That feels like you're watching a comic book movie come to life. Like, everything's just so, like, big and, like, it feels larger than life. The classic, like, whitey-tighty outfit that he has, like, the red underwear. Lex Luthor is fun, and Otisburg, their banter back and forth is absolutely fantastic. Which, you still go around just, like...
It's so funny.
Yeah, that's something you quote all the time.
Oh.
But... Like, how iconic is that score, and how iconic is it when he catches Lois Lane,
Dude,
like, falling from...
Don't even get me started on that.
It has some of the best movie moments that I've seen, especially, like, whenever the burglar is, like, going up the wall, and he's just, like, standing looking at him.
Just so
like,
classical Superman.
Yeah.
Like, but he says something like, was the elevator broken? Or something like that. So good.
It's just, it's so... It feels wholesome when you watch it.
Wholesome is the word I was going to use. Wholesome, like, perfectly describes this movie. Because, like, in the whole first act, like, you don't see Superman in the outfit for, like, almost an hour. Like, it does the whole Krypton thing with fucking Marlon Brando.
Who's top billed in this.
Yeah, as Jor-El. For a while there, he was the most paid actor in a movie, and he's only in it for, like, 6 minutes. He got, like, $3 million or something.
Fuck,
it's crazy. Guy. Yeah. But he plays Jor-El. They do the whole thing on Krypton where he's like, the planet's going to blow up. And they're like, fuck you, you idiot. And so he just sends his kid off. And it's so...
I think that's more of a Man of Steel approach.
But like, it was still like that. And then you get sequel set up in the first 5 minutes. He sends General Zod and his goons to the Phantom Zone. And like the little like triangle thing. Like, you'll bow down to me.
Fucking cheesy.
You'll bow down to me one day, Jor-El. And someday, your heirs. Not sequel baity at all.
Yeah.
But no. Great opening. And you get Clark Kent as a teenager growing up on the farm. You get Pa Kent's unfortunate death. You get a bunch of really cool scenes, like when he punts the football off of the fucking universe. Mm-hmm. So great. Tons of great stuff. And then when he finally gets to Metropolis, dude, okay, Christopher Reeve's performance as like a dual role. Like Clark Kent and Superman are like played totally differently. And there's a great scene where he's like goes to Lois's house for a date, but he was just there as Superman for an interview. Mm-hmm. So he flies away as Superman, comes in as Clark, is like he's hunched over, he's got his glasses.
He's still like fumbly, like as Clark Kent.
He's like, oh, sorry that you're late, Lois. Maybe you should go, change your outfit because you're still in your nightgown. But I've figured blah blah blah. And then when she leaves, he stops, upright, takes off the glasses and smiles, like just transforms into another person. Mm-hmm. And it's like he's so good in this film. I also love the scene that they paid homage to in Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman when they're in the alley and the guy shoots Lois and he catches the bullet but pretends to just pass out and then he like looks at it later. It's just such good scenes like that. Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, are you kidding me? He's just obsessed with real estate and land, and he always makes fun of Otis, and it's so funny. Otis, what does the number 200 have in common with you and me? What's that, sir? It's your weight and my IQ. And then just continues doing whatever he's doing. Mm-hmm. So, it's so great.
I love whenever he gets to, I almost said Daily Bugle, but Daily Planet.
Daily Planet, yes.
And he meets Perry White, and he's like just fumbling around everywhere. And like, he is Superman. Like, he could just absolutely murder everyone in that building. But you know what? He's going to fucking spill a coffee or whatever he spills. And it is very wholesome. And like you said, like just the transformation between like Clark Kent and Superman having two different roles, because he has to keep that identity. He can't like give off that he's Superman with glasses.
And Beatty as Perry White, when he's like, this is going to be the single most important interview since God talked to Moses. He like chews on cigars. It's so 70s. It's so great.
Absolutely.
Oh, and just God, the scene when he catches Lois Lane as Superman, and you get the John Williams score like in its full glory. She's falling from the helicopter from some fucking...
And it like slowly
fucking
starts.
Ridiculous circumstances. There's a great scene where he sees a phone booth and goes like, nah, and like goes over, turns in the building. A pimp compliments his outfit because it's the 70s.
Yep, as one does.
Flies up, catches her. It's okay, miss. I got you. You got me. Who's got you? It's so good. It's so wholesome. Like, how do you not love it? Like, I can have really bad days, watch that, and be fine for about 2.5 years. It's so great.
And then his whole like spiel,
that
like
scene is actually the pinned tweet on my Twitter.
Is it really?
Yes, it is. That's how much I love that scene.
And then the fact that he like drops her off and he's like, just statistically speaking, flying is still the safest option.
So good. It's so wholesome.
It is.
There are things about this movie that don't age exactly well. Like Superman flying, spoiler alert, Superman flying around the universe to turn back time is a really fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really work.
And it has so many plot holes when he does that.
Yes. Only thing about the movie that doesn't age. Okay, and the miniature effects look bad compared to like Star Wars and other movies that use miniatures. Yeah. The Superman miniature effects are very clearly 3 inches tall. But it's okay. Because
it's a cute,
everything
movie.
Else is so great. Eventually, I don't know if we might do this later, but then you get Superman 2, and then Superman 2, the Donner cut, the original Snyder cut of a DC movie. I enjoy both films. I like the Donner cut a little more, but I enjoy both films. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, Superman, the original 1978, it was the first time, like, superhero movie was, like, dominated pop culture, and it even won some, like, visual effects Oscars, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but, you didn't really get another major one until Superman 2 and then Batman in 1989. And until then, the comic book movies didn't dominate the movie sphere at this time, but Superman proved that they could be very, very successful.
Yeah.
And just what a fantastic and great, happy movie.
It really is. There's nothing, like, negative about it.
There's a scene with Lex Luthor that gets me every time. Superman like blows up his door with his laser vision, or like he pushes open the door and it completely breaks, and the door hits the ground. Superman walks in, and Gene Hackman just goes, It's open. Come in.
Oh my god! Whenever
so
the planet blows up and you can clearly see like the green screen in the
Yes,
studio that they're in and the
yes.
string that it's hanging on,
Yes.
like how pure is
So
that?
good. And I love Gene Hackman and like the kryptonite, how he puts it in a lead box,
Mhm.
and just seeing kryptonite affect Superman for the first time, that would just like cripples him.
Yeah.
It's so great.
What a wholesome movie that just you can tell everyone just loved being a part of.
Such a
except
lovely-
Marlon Brando, but he's Marlon Brando.
Yeah, such a lovely wholesome movie. If you have not watched the original 1978 Superman movie, please do yourself the favor and do it. I believe it's streaming on HBO Max.
Okay.
I have the 4K, and I saw it in theaters last year on the big screen for the first time, and it was great. And I cried because there was a 6-year-old in front of me who had never seen it, so they were like reacting to every.
Oh my god,
dude, it was so
That's
wholesome
fantastic.
and great. But yes, please do yourself a favor and watch the original 1978 Superman. Such a good movie. Such a wholesome, fun movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I genuinely love that.
Go ahead and give it some grades, my guy.
Oh, 5 stars. 5 out of
5?
5. Yeah. Like, even though the Superman flying around the world causes a lot of plot holes, at the time, like, you have to look at it from 1978. Like,
Yeah.
how else is he going to, like, solve that issue? And it's just like, oh, fly around the world. And it's like, okay, like, I can buy into it. Obviously, it wouldn't work for today. But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't really have any negatives about it.
Yeah, no, I don't really have any negatives except the end. It does hinder my grade a little bit. As much as I love the movie, I'm going to give it an A, second highest grade. Wow, I must fucking hate it. But, God, I hate people doing that to me already. But, you know, on the internet, you don't have to just completely love, or completely hate something. There can be varying levels.
Yeah. And you know what? You could watch it tomorrow and completely fucking hate it.
Exactly. No, but I love Superman the movie. I do give it an A just because it hasn't aged as well, and because there are other comic book movies that kind of have shown how you can take a comic book movie and make it different. But I do love the movie so much, and I'm
Yeah.
really glad that we got to watch it again because it is so goddamn good.
Yeah. No, I know that's one that you really hold near and dear to your heart.
Very close. Very,
yeah.
very close. And speaking of comic book movies, and because I don't know how to segue, we're going to go ahead and go on to Franchise Spotlight. What's that? Franchise Spotlight.
I'm glad you asked, camera.
Yeah. Like Dora the Explorer.
Oh
Can
my
you say
God.
delicioso? Good job! No, but Franchise Spotlight. This is where we watch an entire franchise of movies, break it down movie by movie, and give our thoughts and opinions. However, if a franchise has more than 5 movies, we split it up into parts. We've tackled the enormous X-Men franchise. We're actually going to do 4 of the franchise films today.
Whoa.
Yes, we're going to be doing X-Men Days of Future Past, Deadpool, X-Men Apocalypse, and Logan. So from 2014 to 2017 of the X-Men movies. Whew! Ryan.
Go ahead, take it off, man.
We're going to go ahead and kick it off with X-Men Days of Future Past. This movie fucking rules. And if it wasn't for another movie we're going to talk about here in a minute, it'd be the best X-Men movie. I fucking love X-Men Days of Future Past. It brought back some of the original cast, like even like ones you didn't know you needed, like the return of fucking Iceman. Thank you for that. Like,
that's all you need.
Yes. And it mixed with the original cast and the prequel cast from First Class very well. You completely bought the time travel element that it was pitching to you. You got to see the Sentinels. And you have this beautifully human story told across variations of different periods of time. And you also get this just amazing journey of them trying to fix continuity problems while also creating more. And it's just, God, Fox and continuity problems are like chocolate and peanut butter. Just you can't have one without the other. You know? It's just great. But no. Arab words. Magneto, Michael Fassbender's performance in this, fantastic, as well as Ian McKellen. There's a beautiful scene where Charles Xavier, Professor X, Patrick Stewart gets to have a conversation with James McAvoy, and it makes me cry when I watch that movie. It's so good. This is still when Jennifer Lawrence wanted to be involved, so she does pretty well. Havoc returns from X-Men First Class. They killed everyone else off screen. Beast is back as well, Nicholas Hoult, who does a fantastic job. Hugh Jackman, of course, kills it as Wolverine. And you get Ellen Page back as Kitty Pryde. You briefly get Rogue returning, although she was in it more. And there's a version of the movie that has her more, but I haven't seen it.
The Rogue cut.
Which I have not seen yet. I've heard it's good, though. And just the entirety of everything. Peter Dinklage as Will of our Trask does an excellent job. I love the structure of this movie. I think the script is airtight, and I think the direction... Oh, and Evan Peters is Quicksilver. with
fantastic,
the amazing Quicksilver scene, like one of the coolest sequences of the past 10 years, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
So well done. I love Days of Future Past. Go ahead and dive into it a little bit more for me, Ryan.
Yeah, I loved that it had two different storylines going on at the same time, and like you said, you buy into it, and I love that, like, the way that they have to time travel is through Wolverine, because like they have to like kill him but also heal him at the same time because his like body heals itself.
And I like the idea of just like, you're not actually traveling in time, just your consciousness is.
Yes.
And they can get away with it because Hugh Jackman never ages. So like it works.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And I love that they're like on the run and like they're being hunted down and killed, but he has to like go back in time and then like stop the creation of what are they, the Sentinels. He has to like stop the creation of the Sentinels. Yeah. And Jennifer Lawrence takes it into her own hands and really throws a fucking wrench into everything.
And I love Magneto in this film. This might be my favorite Magneto movie other than First Class, because he teams up with Charles Xavier after Quicksilver breaks them out, which we'll talk about more, is a great scene. And he's all for it. And then but his idea, because they're like, we have to stop Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask, because that's how they get the DNA. And that's what's what wipes out mutants in the future. And where Magneto and Xavier are together is, we like mutants, let's keep them safe. Just how to do it is where they differ.
Yes.
And Magneto's like, all right, let's go stop her from killing Trask. And then his idea is, well, if we just kill her, they'll never get her DNA. So then in that scene, he quickly changes gears. There's that scene where he has a gun and then someone pushes the gun out of his hands, but he holds it and then just shoots it while it's floating in the air.
Which is so
Such
fucking
a cool scene. And then it strikes her and they get her DNA, and then he ended up making it worse. And then you get the fucking sequence when he lifts up an entire goddamn baseball stadium, drops it over the White House, and it's just like, Magneto runs that movie in the second half, and it's such good storytelling.
Dude, he's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. And I love Hugh Jackman when he wakes up in the 70s and he has his bone claws, and he's like, what? And he like has to like get used to everything.
Yeah.
And when he punches Beast in the face, he's like, you and I are going to be good friends, just not right now. And then he like keeps walking around.
Just like little things like that, yeah.
And I love that they try to explain Xavier walking in Origins Wolverine by having McAvoy being able to walk, because Hank Beast, like, I developed a serum that takes away his powers, but it gives him the ability to walk. So he's choosing walking over helping people, which is an interesting motif that they add to the movie. But then in Origins Wolverine, he still used his mind powers while he walked. So it's like, didn't quite get that one, you morons, but whatever. And
Continuity, schmontinuity.
Yep. But they keep going with it. And I like Xavier going on the journey of not wanting to help. He'd rather walk, and then just slowly accepting that he'd rather help and have his powers back throughout the movie. Really interesting, really cool to see.
It really like evolves him as a character.
Yeah, it really does. And at the end, because like Wolverine's almost kind of like the central character in these X-Men movies for the most part.
Because like you said last episode, like, they love Wolverine, let's make it more Wolverine-y.
Yeah, and but there's a great sequence towards the end of this movie. Because, like, part of your job as a filmmaker is, even if in our heads we know that, like, the heroes are going to win, you have to make the audience think for a second, like, oh, maybe they won't. And there's a great scene where, for the first time, Wolverine can charge Magneto, because he's not full of adamantium. And he's like, oh my god, I've been wanting to do this, like,
forever.
And he runs at him, but then Magneto takes a bunch of, like, metal pipes, puts them throughout Wolverine's body, lifts him up, and earlier in the movie, Wolverine told Magneto, he goes, the only thing that's similar about us is that we're both survivors. And then fucking Magneto pulls him towards his face and goes, so much for being a survivor, and just fucking throws him into the fucking harbor. And like, Wolverine's down and out for the rest of the movie. And it's like, and as an audience member, you're like, oh fuck, they just fucked off Wolverine for like the third act of the movie.
Which is a brilliant way to do that, because like, he doesn't have any adamantium in him. He can actually fucking kill Magneto, and he's like, not my problem anymore.
Yeah, it was so good. Insanely well done. The Quicksilver scene and how they did that, so stupid. Evan Peters, the performance, such a great job playing Quicksilver.
I love the breakout scene. Like, it's so good. And then the CG shot of him like running around and like licking things and like having fun with his like power is so like pure. And
I love the setup. Like, he duct tapes the guy really quickly, puts on his outfit, and then when he escapes with Magneto, he's talking to him and he's like, so why are you in here anyway? And he goes, for killing the president. And he looks over and goes, oh. And he looks at the guy who duct tape and he's like, holy shit.
I love little things too of like whenever he holds Michael Fassbender's neck and head because he's like, hey, like fucking whiplash. Yeah. Like I love little things like that. Like the attention to detail I think is like outstanding. Yeah.
Such a good movie and such a satisfying ending when Wolverine wakes up in the future and the school is back. Kelsey Grammer comes back as Beast, baby. You see him for a second. You see Rogue. You see everyone. And then, just because they were like, fuck X-Men 3, Wolverine sees a woman with long red hair, and he's like, no fucking way. Goes over, and it's Jean Grey, played by Famke Janssen. And right as he's about to touch her face, a hand comes in, whoa, whoa. And the camera goes, and it's fucking James Marsden as Cyclops. And he's like, what are you doing? And it's like, dude, my theater went fucking nuts. And every time I show someone this movie after they've seen the franchise for the first time, they always freak out right there. Bringing back Cyclops and Jean Grey, and because there's a great sequence in the middle of the movie where Wolverine talks to young Xavier, and he tells them their names. He's like, Storm, Jean, Cyclops. He's like, remember these names, and remember that you always have to keep us safe and help us. And then when he sees Professor X, he goes to him, and he's like, they're alive. And then Professor X is like, well, I had a promise to keep. And it's like such a good fucking scene, such a good moment. And it was like, for once in the X-Men world, like, they got to end happily.
Yeah, right.
And it was just this nice, brief, happy ending that they had.
Until future installments.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, any last things you want to add about Days of Future Past before we move on?
Yeah, I love that, like, this is the first time you have both iterations of Professor X and
Magneto.
Magneto, yes, thank you. Both the old and the young in the same movie, and they feel like they're playing the same character, just younger and older. Like they're not trying, like James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender are not trying to be like what are their names? Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. Like they're not trying to be them. They're just playing them as if they were younger, and it really feels authentic. Like this is how Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart would be if they actually were younger playing these characters. Like it just feels real, and I love that they have that like dynamic bouncing back and forth, because then it adds another layer to their older selves and their dynamic going back and forth, and that's something that I absolutely love that they did in this movie.
Oh, and a minor detail that I really loved is when Wolverine gets to the school is empty. And you're like, what the hell's going on? And Beast says, yeah, no, all the students got drafted. And I was like, oh my God, I never ever fucking thought about that before. Like that was insanely good detail. And then you see Havoc in Vietnam later, which I thought was very interesting. But yeah, such a good film.
Yeah, what's your grade for it?
We'll do that at the end.
Okay.
But now let's move on to another great X-Men movie, Deadpool.
Yahoo!
Where they finally fixed that fucking abomination they did in X-Men Origins Wolverine. This one brings back Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson in Deadpool.
But correctly.
Yep, and what I love about it is that it was a lower budget. I believe it was like a $50 million movie. Low budget for comic book movies. Because it was the first X-Men movie that went fully R-rated. And they were like, fine, we'll decrease the budget, but here you go. Let's see if it works. And holy shit, did it work. I love the simplistic nature of the story. It's really a love story at its core about Deadpool and Miranda Bachran, I forget, Vanessa, I think is the girl's name. And he really loves her, and he gets completely scarred by this operation he did because of his inoperable cancer. And the whole movie is just him trying to go back to her. And it really has the message of like, it's all about who you are on the inside for an R-rated foul movie. Like that's the message at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It was very interesting and very cute, and the comedy works so well. It's fucking hilarious, and the violence, the gore, amazing. Colossus, this is my favorite version of Colossus in all the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And the Negasonic Teenage Warhead is so good too. Everything.
Oh, she is fantastic in this movie. Her banter with Deadpool.
Love the Deadpool movie. Some of the CG is okay. Like there's just some stuff like that just from it being lower budget. But the commanding lead performance from Ryan Reynolds, and it was the really first time Fox like just tried something out of the box and new during this whole comic book movie rage, and it worked amazingly. And it was amazing to see Deadpool be able to work in that way. What are your overall thoughts on the Deadpool movie?
Yeah, I just echo everything you just said. Like Ryan Reynolds absolutely steals the show in this, but there was no doubt about that even whenever it was coming out. And I love the way that this movie was made, because they had the test footage that they did years ago.
Yeah, and then it leaked. Yeah.
leaked, yeah,
and had such a positive response that they finally just greenlit the movie just from that response.
And just, taking a chance on it. And like that's what I admire most about this movie, is that Fox took a chance and it paid off very well. Very well. So much so that they made a sequel.
Yes.
And there's really nothing negative about this movie. Like the comedy hits, the chemistry hits, the message hits of like you said, it's who you are on the inside, because like he's just so afraid of like getting rejected by his love that he even like has a Wolverine like mask on. That was so funny. Or it was Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
But it's a very cute love story. And he even says that in the beginning. He's like, oh, this movie is about love, and it like shows like some part in the middle of the movie, and then it like backtracks and then goes into the movie chronologically.
And then I love the montage of him just killing people. Like when he's like, you're about to get killed by a Zamboni, and then it cuts wide and he's like, eventually, and he's just slowly going towards him.
And I love that it almost feels like Spider-Man, where he's like learning his like outfit, learning like what he's going to be doing.
Oh, and the way they do his healing factor is so funny.
Oh yeah.
Like when he breaks both of his wrists and leg against Colossus's head, and he's just like crawling on the ground, and he just starts chopping off his own hand. Oh, and Blind Owl, the roommate. How did we forget? She's so fucking funny too.
She's hilarious.
Oh my god, yes.
And it's so funny because they set up a joke in this movie that pays off in the second movie, and it is so goddamn funny. Like the cure for blindness.
Yeah. Oh my god, yes.
That shit is so funny.
Yes, that was very.
But
very
his
funny.
baby hand.
Yeah.
How funny was that when you first saw it?
Dude, my whole theater couldn't fucking breathe. It was so great. It's gonna feel so big in this hand. Oh my god, it was so funny.
What a fantastic movie.
Yeah, and they got that R rating, and they were like, if it's R, we're
unapologetic.
fucking going R. Yeah, it was directed by Tim Miller, who would eventually direct Terminator Dark Fate. I like that movie. But I thoroughly love Deadpool. I love the superhero landing at the end. And oh my god.
Oh, she's going to do the superhero landing? Oh, that's so hard on the knees.
Yeah. And I love when he's fighting the one guy and he just goes like, I forget what name he said.
Ajax.
No. It's like a random guy and he stops fighting and goes, Brad? And
oh, yeah.
His mask, Wade? Dude, I love that so much. So good. And is it Ed Skeen is his name who plays Ajax?
I think so.
Yeah. I thought he gave a good performance in this film as well. But yeah, no, really, really fun, really great movie. And a full-on comedy.
Yeah.
And, it
works.
X-Men world, and it worked excellently.
And they're very unapologetic, like I said, with that R rating. Like, they just really go for it.
Oh, yeah. And let's go ahead and go on to the next movie in the franchise, which also came out in 2016, X-Men Apocalypse. This film gets a lot of hate. I don't hate the movie. I don't think it's excellent. I don't think it's in the top tier of the X-Men movies. But I don't think it's a bad movie either. I know I might be in the minority on that. I do think it has problems, but I also think it does a lot of things correctly. For example, we've said it before, we'll say it again, Magneto, handled excellently in this film. You finally, for a brief period of time, he finally has happiness, and then it just gets fucking taken from him.
Which is such an emotional scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His whole family gets murdered, and he uses the locket, kills all the soldiers, holds the blade necklace. It's like, is this what you want from me? So good.
Like, he tried to escape everything and live a peaceful life.
Oh, and we should point out, in the X-Men prequel movies, they go from 60s, 70s to 80s, but no one ages.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. And you first notice it here. You're like, wait, it's been 20 years since First Class, and he still looks like...
exactly the same.
Yeah.
Because then in 10 years, he's supposed to be Ian McKellen.
Yeah, right. And then also in the movie, James McAvoy coming back, does an excellent job. You finally get the younger original X-Men cast. Like, you get young Cyclops, young Jean Grey, young Storm. Really interesting stuff, and I think all of the actors do a good job. Where I think the problem is they try to do the Apocalypse story and the young X-Men story, and it just doesn't work well together. But I think when they were both doing their own thing, it was working fine, but when they tried to overlap the stories, that's where it kind of fell apart.
Which is interesting, because they could have totally done that in First Class.
Yeah.
Like, at the have a post-credit scene of, them... getting Storm and getting young Jean Grey and having all these characters as a post-credit scene, because then you wouldn't have to do a whole story on it. Then when Apocalypse comes out, you could solely focus on that. So it's very interesting that they didn't capitalize on that when they did. Unless that just wasn't even a thought back then. And then when they made Apocalypse, it's
Yeah.
shit, we have two different stories.
Yeah. Oh, young Nightcrawler as well.
Which is rad as hell. I love Nightcrawler.
Yes, and this is the first movie where Jennifer Lawrence very much so does not want to be there, and it's
very
quite funny.
obvious.
Yeah, she just
because she just gone in like the first 20 minutes,
and she just hates act like in the makeup. So she's rarely in the makeup, and when she's on screen, she's like, oh, like it's really funny. I thought Beast does another great job. Quicksilver's in the movie. He does a good job, and they do another huge bombastic scene with him, and I love the sequence. It's very well done, but I just don't think it was placed as well in the movie as the previous one was. William Stryker comes back from Days of Future Past, the young William Stryker, and starts, messing up some mutants, which was really interesting and nice to see. Oscar Isaac plays Apocalypse, and I think he was really wasted. He kind of didn't do as much as he probably could have.
Which is funny, because it looks like he cares about what he's doing.
Yeah. And, him recruiting the Four Horsemen was pretty cool, like when he gets Storm and Angel. And when he gets Magneto and he takes him to Auschwitz and he goes, like, just destroy it to the ground. And, like, you get to see Magneto destroy Auschwitz. That was such a cool moment.
Especially since we watched his life get ripped apart twice.
Yeah.
So it was very rewarding to watch him just destroy it.
And you buy, like, why he's with Apocalypse, because he's normally someone who would never work for anyone else.
Yeah.
And I also like the camaraderie with the younger class of the X-Men. I thought they did really well together. It's when the movie starts to come together that it kind of falls apart. Although I love James McAvoy getting kidnapped by Apocalypse, and that was really interesting to see, that whole consequence there. When Havoc destroys Cerebro, that was awesome, but then they fucking killed Havoc in the middle of a comedic sequence, so you don't even get to fucking mourn it, which I fucking hated, because they always shafted Havoc, and I love Havoc, and then they're like, Quicksilver saves everybody, and then Cyclops, where's my brother? And then, oh no, they got him, and then that's it. That's how he dies.
Yeah, I can't remember, because like some of the X-Men movies just blend together. Did they do the Quicksilver scene again in this one, or was it Dark Phoenix? In this one, yeah. Because like I don't think it was as good, because it didn't feel authentic. Like it felt forced. It's like, oh, everyone loved the Quicksilver thing. We have to do it again, but with Charles's school. Which like it still worked. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't feel like it was coming from the right place.
Yeah,
it was just like everyone loved it. Let's do it again.
And it was placed right in this like emotional, serious moment, and it just completely detracted from what was going on. It felt very odd. Then you get some cool shit when they go to Alkali Lake, and if you're an X-Men fan, you're like, oh shit, I know what's about to fucking happen. And they take the mutants there because they're looking for Apocalypse. He starts releasing all the nukes. Who cares about that? Because then when the mutants get free, they release fucking Weapon X Wolverine, where they kind of quickly just redid Origins in 10 minutes, and it worked much better than that whole movie.
Yeah.
You see him in the fucking helmet. He's like hairy. He's fucking... And he wreaks fucking havoc on those fucking people in those hallways.
Oh, he's an animal.
It was the best PG-13 Wolverine violence we had. Until next, which we'll get to in a second. But, no. And then the third act does fall apart a little bit after, although they do a great joke when Wolverine leaves. Cyclops is like, I hope that's the last we see of that guy. Which was, ha 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 ha. Because he's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
And he's in all of them. No, but...
he really is in every single one of them.
Yeah, except... Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, only one, and the Deadpools.
Yeah.
But in later in the movie, towards the third act, that's where it kind of fell apart, trying to stop Apocalypse while doing all these things. Although I liked when Magneto turned and started helping them out. And there's two things I liked about the end. Oh, Psylocke in this movie as well, played by Olivia Munn, but she was fucking wasted. And Caliban's in this movie, who's also in Logan. Completely different actors, and they almost never reference each other. More continuity problems. But there's a great sequence where James McAvoy goes inside of Apocalypse's head, and he's in their own minds, and he starts beating the shit out of him in his own brain, and he's like, you're in my house now. And I was like, okay, I'll take this.
I'll buy it.
And then you get a brief glimpse of the Phoenix, when Jean Grey comes in his mind and just fucking helps out, and you see the outline, and you're like, oh, they're finally going to do it right again this time. And they don't, spoiler alert. But you get that whole ending sequence, which I thought was very cool. But I thought that the movie's okay. I think it does a lot of things right. I just think that there are a couple things that it didn't handle well at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes out in the third act of the film, the second to third act break especially. But overall, I still like the movie. I just think it's a step down from the previous installments. You got any other overall thoughts on Apocalypse?
Yeah, I definitely think it's not bad. I do love, like, it's always fun, and there's always something, like, thrilling about watching just superhero team get together to fight like one baddie. Like it's always fun, and the final fight is definitely just my favorite part, just because, like I said, it really just brings everyone together and they face off against Apocalypse. Terrifying though, Apocalypse is. It's in his name. But it's so, like, I almost cried the first time I watched this movie, probably a year ago, when Magneto's family just gets killed. It was really so incredibly sad, especially since it kind of comes out of nowhere, because like you are with him for a little bit before that, and like you can see how happy he is, like he has a family, and it's like, oh, like good for him, he finally got out of the life, because like before that he's just always the villain. He's always like kill people, mutants will rule the world, and then now he's just in a cabin in the middle of nowhere, living his life, and some soldiers come up and they're like, hey, fuck you, man, and fuck your family. But it's awesome that he was able to kill everyone with the locket, and then just
that was the first time you wanted to see Magneto just
wreak havoc.
And a scene that I loved is he goes back to the factory to the people who reported him, and he just gives this epic speech about how he's gonna fucking kill everybody. And then Apocalypse shows up behind him. He just turns around and goes, "Who the fuck are you?" I love that sequence. One thing I hate about this movie. So it's hinted at in Days of Future Past that Quicksilver is Magneto's son. And then he confirms it in this movie. And they had this perfect way to tie together that, he's doing this because he lost his family, but he's like, no, you still have family, for Quicksilver to say, but I'm your son. And I know they want to do it like, oh, the X-Men's his family, fucking whatever. But there's literally a moment where Quicksilver has a chance because they're convincing him to help, and Magneto says, I have no family. And Quicksilver can just be like, yes, you do. I'm your son. And that's what turns him, and it would work great narratively, like they're setting it up. And then Quicksilver just decides not to tell him. And they just, I thought that was so dumb. It's like, okay, don't set it up and then not do it. That's so stupid.
What a tease.
Yeah, just do it, right? And it was like Nike, just do it. But
Shia
it was
LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf, yes. I'm so sorry, yes. But yeah, no, I didn't like that portion of the movie. But overall, I thought it was okay.
Yeah. It's definitely not as bad as, like you said, everyone was making it out to be, but it's just it feels messy, and like you said, it's probably because they have two different storylines that they're trying to focus on. But it was really cool to see the original like X-Men characters, but their younger selves, and them get recruited, and it's just I feel like there's just too much going on that they just didn't know what they wanted to do, but it's still not bad.
It was okay. But I think we have one more for today, because we have the last part next week, and that is 2017's Logan, my guy.
Which you're most excited about getting into.
I know you can see that shit. I think you can. Which I gypped from the movie theater I used to work at. But it's only one of the greatest goddamn movies ever, let alone an X-Men movie.
I love the opening of him just being the limousine driver, and he like gets the shit beat out of him, and he's like, fucking here we go, and then he just like destroys everyone. I think like the 3 or 4 people who were beating the shit out of him. And
huge spoilers. I mean, we spoiled all these movies, but just again, you finally get Wolverine in an R-rated adventure from the director of the Wolverine, and he has full creative control.
And thanks to Deadpool.
Thanks to Deadpool. Thank you, Deadpool. But yes, the opening sequence where he just fucks those guys up. Dude, I remember in the opening sequence when he stabs the dude through the face, my whole theater was like, oh! Because
this is the shit we came to see.
Because we've been waiting for R-rated Wolverine violence forever, and we were finally getting it, and it was so exciting to see. But they took advantage of the R rating, not just with the violence, but just for the thematic storytelling.
Of him just wanting to fucking die. That's all he wants. Everyone around him died.
And Professor X is in this movie, and he has dementia, Alzheimer's, but whenever he has like a episode, it like almost kills everyone around you. And then it's implied that he killed all the X-Men in one of these incidents, which is so sad because this takes place way in the future. And then Wolverine kept him because he was the only person who helped Wolverine when no one else could help him. It's so sad. And he just keeps him because he's like, he killed all my friends, but he's the only person who ever helped me. It's so emotional. And it's like, oh my God, this is fucked up. And then he has this plan where he's going to take them out on a Sunseeker and just kill themselves. He keeps this adamantium bullet with them so he can do it. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like, Wolverine, are you okay, buddy?
But he just needs a hug, man.
Yeah, and then you find out that Alkali Lake had taken his DNA and cloned a bunch of new mutants to experiment on them.
And a new Wolverine. His daughter, Laura, X-23, who fucking kicks ass in this movie. Oh, she absolutely does.
And Daphne Keane is the actress. She does really well. And Stephen Merchant plays Caliban, but a different Caliban from Apocalypse.
But we're not going to fucking talk about that.
Yeah. And, but God, just the pacing, the script, the everything about this script was actually nominated for an Academy Award.
It's so good.
And it's such a great movie. And there's a legend around movie nights where someone can Logan cry. And what that means is, when I first saw Logan in the theater, I saw it with like 5 friends, and I sobbed so hard at the end of the movie that it almost pretty much caused a scene. And so now whenever something's really sad, the question is, but will it make you Logan cry? Because they're talking about me.
Yeah.
Because when Wolverine dies, it is so motherfucking sad. And you know what? I was okay. I was crying a little bit, right? Because it's like, I saw X2 when I was like 5 years old, you know. Like, I'm like, whatever. It's sad. And then that bitch took the cross and turned it into an X. And I was like, God damn it. And I just fucking lost it. So sad.
But, dude, how fucking good is that scene, the shot of the woods?
Oh, the berserker
and all
scene?
you hear is,
and it just
like,
cuts
what
to
the
fucking
fuck?
Hugh Jackman going like, oh, you finally get to see the berserker rage Logan. So goddamn good. And, oh my God, and when Xavier dies, I've seen that movie so many times, and it's so sad because it's a clone of Wolverine that kills him, which great thematic storytelling where he gets to face the animalistic version of himself that he's afraid of. So good. But that stabs Charles. And then when Wolverine is holding Charles as he's dying, all he's saying is like, it wasn't me. I swear it wasn't me.
Oh, it's
like,
so sad.
Oh, it's so heartbreaking. On that scene where they bury Charles and like Wolverine can't even get through like talking without just losing it.
Yeah. Oh. Dude, okay, honestly, fucking give random families a break, man. Give random ass families a break.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. That family that helped and they just get fucking slaughtered by X-24.
That shit was so sad.
It was really sad. Just Wolverine can't. And the thing is, Charles was trying to show Logan like, see, you can still do this. You can have a happy life. And then just fucking nope. And Richard E. Grant was really good as the villain too. Oh, and Boyd Holbrook as like the fucking southern like
the southern twang guy.
As I live and breathe, the Wolverine. Fucking, I love him so much.
Fantastic.
But such a great film, and like it makes you think. Like it questions your life afterwards. It's violent. It's a very deep movie. It's very deep. It's emotionally resonant. It's everything. The action scenes, great. Everything is great. It is such a great film.
And I'm glad they went with this approach because, like, you could easily take Wolverine, like, I just want to fucking die because I live forever, like, as super cheesy and corny. But it's so good because, like you said, it's hinted at, heavily implied that Patrick Stewart killed everyone with one of these episodes. And, like, everyone that Hugh Jackman cares and loves for is dead, but he cannot die, even though he's now aged. Yeah. His body won't let him, and he's been Wolverine for since the 60s.
Yeah,
so
and he's finally, the adamantium is finally poisoning his mutant DNA, so he's finally going to die, but there's that one hero part of him that just won't let him not take care of Charles. And it's just
not only that, but like as the kids as well. Like he wants because they have to cross the border into Canada, and then they'll be free and away from like American military. Yeah. So he like has to help them, which is why he goes into the Berserker. But like it's his final last effort to like be a hero, and it's mutants. So fucking good, dude.
It's so sad, dude. No, when he's dying and he fucking says, "Don't be what they made you," to his daughter. Oh my God, I'm getting teary eyed, dude. It's so fucking sad. Such a good movie.
So, question is, do you prefer the noir version?
I actually haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
I have it. There's a black and white version of the movie. I haven't watched it yet. I will. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But
I'm wondering if that'll like hit differently. It's the same exact movie. Yeah. They didn't add anything to it. It's just instead of
if it was
in
noir
color,
but the blood stayed red, I would
Sin City.
I would watch all of it every day for the rest of my life. But apparently it's not the case. But I'm sure it's still great because it feels like a Western too, which is very interesting. But yeah, God. All right, so without ranking them, because we'll wait till the end, and dude, when we rank all these X-Men movies, it's going to get fucking tough. It's going to get tough. But give me your grades for Days of Future Past, Deadpool, Apocalypse, and Logan.
Days of Future Past, 4.5 stars.
Okay.
I don't think it's a perfect movie. I don't have anything wrong with it. It just doesn't feel perfect.
Okay.
Deadpool, 5 stars. Easy, no doubt about that.
Okay.
Apocalypse, I would definitely say probably 3.5. It feels average. Feels messy at times. And then Logan, 5 stars. Like no doubt about it.
Cool.
But
I'm gonna give Dibs Did You Pass an A+.
Okay.
I think it's almost perfect. I'm gonna give Deadpool an A.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm gonna give Apocalypse a B. And I'm gonna give Logan an A+ because fucking. Here's the thing: 2017 was such a good year for movies. I just sucked Logan's dick for like the past 10 minutes. That's my third favorite movie of 2017. Like that's how
Behind
good
what?
2017 Wind River and Blade Runner 2049.
Wind River, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fucking great movie.
Yeah,
but damn.
yeah. But it's like such great films. But yeah, one more X-Men episode of Franchise Spotlight.
We will have what? Dark Phoenix and
Deadpool 2, Dark Phoenix, and New Mutants.
Deadpool 2, that's right.
And that's it. 20 years X-Men movies.
And gone in 3 or 4 weeks.
Shit. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
But we're slowly but surely getting through them. I think that's all we have planned for today's show.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.